comes to the sales process, who takes the inquiries and communicates and qualifies those inquiries, yeah? Then invites those people for a sales presentation or a needs assessment, and who ensures that the inquiries are followed up? Is it you, the owner of the business, or do you have somebody else who is doing this work of filtering the people inquiring about your business? Or do you have an automated process that does the proper filtering, right? Sometimes if you automate a customer journey, you find that when the first email goes out, the second email goes out, the third email goes out, the customer journey is actually making the decisions on which other email they can send to your potential customer, so that they can start making decisions. And in fact, if you have a small thing like an ebook you're selling for $5 or 500 Kenya shillings, that small ebook should actually be part of your automation, so that if they can buy that $5 ebook, that means they have started liking you, right? They're in the second level. And now you can now even call that person and now describe your business in much more detail. And then they will be able perhaps even to buy something more. But if people, there are a large number of people who like free material. They'll never leave your database. In fact, they'll be responding and even appreciating, but they always want free stuff. Those people, sometimes, these are the people who take so long to make decisions, but sometimes when they make a decision, they buy a premium product. So do not get tired of giving those free ebooks that you give, or those free messages that you give, free videos, whatever you normally give. Just continue giving, because there are people who take a little bit longer. They may even go up to 15 messages or emails or free content that you're giving them, or products and services, but they will eventually make a decision. So yeah, just keep them listening. So what happens to all the inquiries that did not attend a presentation? Remember, when you invite people for like a webinar like this one, usually it's 25% maximum of those who registered that attend, 25%. So what happens to the 75%? They had registered, you already have their name and an email. What happens to those people? Do you follow up to find out perhaps why they did not do anything? Like for instance, right now, there are still people joining. I can see some joining on Facebook, and I can see a few more have come in here on Zoom. For those people who had registered and will not make it today, they will have an evergreen webinar to attend to later. If I may comment about the webinar that was going around last month, no, January and February, that is the Build Your Own Business webinar. The people who attended the first webinar were not as many, but by now we are almost 100 of them that are attending that webinar as it goes around, because it's doing its own work. And I'm having a lot of valuable conversations with those people attending, because the whole thing is automated. It is actually helping them even put some comments and even come on board. And yeah, some of the sales that have closed in February and early March have actually come from those people who have watched the Evergreen webinar. All right. So never get tired of doing what you do, and do it your best. All right. So how is the communication with those people? I've just covered that. And when someone has a plan presented to them, right? What is the incentive to go ahead in the next 24 hours? Remember, when someone has come on board, you've done a presentation, they have liked it, what is the incentive that you give them to make sure that they make a quick decision? Some of the ideas that you can do is give them a discount if they make a decision within perhaps a few days or within a month, and that way you'll be able to close that sale quickly. And there are many other methods. What other items are systematically recommended based on a customer needs? Because when a customer comes, sometimes they describe one need, but as you listen to them, you may find they have 2, 3, 4 needs. So what is this that you do to ensure that you recommend a few things? If someone comes to buy a suit, right, in your shop, and you realize there is a shoe that goes with it and a tie that goes with it, or even a shirt, but they only came for a suit, how do you recommend those extra things without making them feel that you want them to spend much more money just like that? Because that might put them off and even leave the suit in the first place. How do you help them buy what they came for and also come back for the next item that actually matches with what they have purchased? So doing customer assessment when they come on board is very key. Make sure you pick all the points of what their needs are. Some of those needs may not be closed at that instant when they're buying the first service or the first product. And that's why you need to understand your customers very well. So in fact, at this point, I may want to ask you, do you have a CRM software or a CRM process that is a customer relationship management, so that you know phase one, we are closing these services or products. Phase two, then I will recommend this maybe after a month or two. And make sure you're very clear. Tell them, for now, take item number one. After 3 months or after 6 months, come for item number two, because by that time, perhaps your service will have reached this level and you will require this other service as well. So be very clear in understanding what the customer wants now and what they want in future, so that you can help them also build a business or achieve their goals. So who and how are the follow-ups done for those who don't buy? So do you have a sales team who does the follow-ups, or is it still you, right? As a business owner, remember, sometimes you may spend so much time chasing people, and there are very few that are filtering in to pay you and start so that you can give them product or service that you have. So you need to have a balance. Perhaps you may even need to look for help, for a support group. On customers that have not bought from you in the last 12 months, how do you reactivate them, and what type of promotions do you do? Do you even have any promotions, in fact, right? And that is why I always say, I recommend you have a database, and in that database, you're analyzing the results. What are these customers doing? What are they buying? And if they haven't bought for a while, something else that then you expected to, what is this you're doing about that? On customers that have bought from you several times, what premium options do you have to recommend them? Yes, I was speaking about this particular point the other day on the Fab Life group, and I remember giving an example of a certain salon that I used to visit some years ago. And I was a very regular, client in there. And at some point they were recommending, or they were buying a lunch for the loyal customers. And they got their database all wrong. A lot of people who were frequent customers had not been invited for that lunch. And they only realized, at least it was good, they realized just a day or two before the lunch, because they kept asking, why haven't you responded to our invite to the lunch? Only to realize a lot of us were not in their database. So always remember, keep your database very current, and current with people's details, so that if they're these premium customers and you are actually give them a special treat for Christmas or whatever it is, you actually reach out to all of them. Don't miss out any, because you risk losing a client because of poor database that you have. All right. And what subscription plans do you have, and how do you manage them? Subscriptions are very good, especially if you're in the service industry. Those are things we can discuss as we go along. It's a goodbye for now. See you next time.